Hey everybody, welcome back. And for those of you who are new to the channel, I'm WolverThor, and what I'm covering here is Marvel's Avengers. Specifically in this video, I'm going to look at Hulk, who I played quite a bit during the beta, and I feel like might be misunderstood a little bit. And I think once you figure out some certain aspects of his tree, or his skill tree, he becomes a lot more fun to play. So I'm going to dive into that a little bit. It's still the beta. We'll check this out once the game goes live. But I hear a lot of people say, I don't really like Hulk, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, you know, I hated him at first. But once I really got into his tree and started playing with certain aspects of it, I really started to like him. So anyway, I'm going to go through that tree a little bit, talk about those abilities, and we'll see what you think.
Bring me WolverThor!
So you guys are probably familiar with seeing this. I will not spend a ton of time on a lot of this for those who've already played the game, but real quickly, we've got 4 different trees in this case where it's combat, we've got heavy attack, we've got grab attacks, and then we've got rage. So the part that I really like about each character is these are all very different, and depending how you like to play the character can really determine which tree you want to go down. So in this video, I'm going to just kind of go down the trees a little bit. I'm also going to show you some gameplay on how I like some of these things and what you can see. Now, one part that we'll get to in a second is this tree actually does a really good, and all the trees do a great job of showing what the abilities do right here on this screen. So first, we're going to start in the combat tree. And like I mentioned, they've got awesome videos that show exactly what's going on here. This is just a pretty basic melee attack. You're talking about hitting X numerous times to get a combo series going. This is a pretty simple thing to do, and it's not connected to anything. It's just a upfront simple melee attack. Now, there's the aerial light attack, where when you're in the air, you can hit X right there, and if you keep hitting it, it keeps going. Now, one of the things that's very interesting about this specific ability is you can kind of fly around the air a little bit. I keep saying I'm Michael Jordaning with my hang time. And you just hang there. So this one's kind of interesting. You can do a little bit with the heavy attacks on this too. The one thing I'd love to see when we're getting the grab attacks is while you're doing this, if you hold X, that you actually grab your opponent. Next up is what I like to call Sniper Hulk. And this is when you simply just grab something out of the ground and you throw it. I'm going to show this one to you on screen here so that you can kind of understand exactly how this works a little bit more than what you see in the screen here. All right, so I just hit left trigger and you can see I've got this little kind of cursor on the screen. And if I hit right trigger, it throws. You just dodge. If I hold L, I'm just holding down L, the left trigger. Oh, someone came from behind me. And you just move around. And if you get it on target, you throw it at him. That's it. He just constantly keeps picking things up. And that's it. Not super complicated, and again, you can also use to throw bodies too. You can see I just threw that dude over there. And this is how I get people from afar. So if I'm, you know, at all at a distance, or if there's a cannon or whatever, then I'm using that Hulk sniper button. That's it. All right, so pretty easy, pretty nothing really to think about too hard here. Okay. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. Now the other abilities here, I don't actually have in game. I didn't go this route, but you can kind of see here. This one, the battering ram, a light sprint attack. When sprinting, you just kind of press X and you kind of give them a shoulder. I could see this being decent if it actually staggers opponents like that have shields. If this staggers a shielded opponent, I would love to put a point in this ability. And it upgrades to, you can see where it creates a radio explosion on impact that gives you some additional rage, which we'll get to in a bit, and is a critical component of this guy's kit. So this monstrous swipe ability, I did not put points into this because I was not looking at Hulk at the time as somebody, I'm like, Hulk doesn't dodge. He's just a rageful guy who just goes nuts. But in playing this game at harder levels, you do need to learn to parry and dodge. And even as you can see in this ability in the screen here, when Hulk does this dodge, you'll see in a second, he dodge, and then does it. He's not dodging anything there. He's just setting up this ability. So you go, you do a quick dodge, you press your X button, and then he just does kind of an attack that launches enemies in the air. And again, if they're shielded and that doesn't work there, I'm not really loving this as much, and that's why I waited for this ability in my specific tree. Now, finishing off the ranged attacks with Hulk, the Sniper Hulk, this one, if you hold L and left and right trigger, you actually get a big piece of debris to throw at somebody. Which, when I was first looking at this, I was like, who cares? But when you go down to the upgrade ability here, this is where I think this ability really kind of starts shining. It's actually super cool, and you can get a whole bunch of different things going here. And this is stuff that you need with Hulk, because you really need him to start wreaking havoc on groups of people, knocking them down so that other people can take them out. Anybody who's potentially shielded, be able to go up to them, grab them, which we'll get to when we get to the grab attacks tree. But I love what you're seeing here in this image, where after you grab the large chunk of debris, you're pressing Y and X and getting these powerful melee attacks. And if it knocks people down, that's where this thing really shines. I love that one there, where it's kind of like you're up in the air and you almost, go head first in a dive onto somebody and just smash them. That one is probably my favorite. And then I'd say a close second is the one where he picks it up and starts spinning it around. That one's not too bad where he throws it on the ground, but when he picks it up, spins it on the ground, there's the head attack one. Pick it up, and he's spinning it around. That to me that's right up there with the other one. So anyway, this is where you want to get to if you're into a lot of grabbing and throwing with these bigger debris. Next up is his heavy attacks. This one's pretty simple. Y, hit Y again a couple times, you combo a couple effects. Nothing special here. The next ability in this tree that's not linked to anything is the ground shaker. What you're doing here is you're running, you're sprinting, and you're just hitting the ground, and you can see a shockwave go out. I like this ability if, again, it's ability to knock people on their ground so you can get up, go, and grab them. Alright, so this ground shaker, you're sprinting, and you just hit Y. You can see that shockwave, right? Clearly that did nothing to that character there, right? So it did a little bit there, but not a lot. Sprinting, Y, knocks him down. Here. There we go. That knocked him down. Worked pretty well, but can't grab him when he gets back up because of reasons. He shields automatically. Now, if he's still on the ground, you can see I was close enough there where I could actually grab him. And now I can run around and do whatever I want with him and smash, etc. I just love smash, 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 smash. And you can see that overcharge building up. This is a great way to build up that overcharge. The heavy combo finisher, again, this is another nice one where if you get X 4 times in a row, then you do your heavy finisher, and it gives them a swing and knocks people around. You want to find anything you can to get people on their butts. So if this is an ability that's knocking people down, you gotta love it. And you can see a guy there in the shield, and everyone, he's still there. You can see him just behind Hulk. It's kind of like, all right, but he did seem to stagger a little bit. So if you're able to recover and grab him and actually start doing work on him, this is a great ability to have. And that was where I executed it right, but it did not actually land. So it's really, you just, again, he's not there. So you just hit the buttons. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, X, Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, X, Y. Now, he's not there. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, X, Y. Keeps missing because these guys teleport, which is super annoying. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, X, Y. There he goes. Okay, so with Hulk, you've always got to smash, right? And that's his ability here. It's the main heavy attack where you hold Y and smash down and kind of put a shockwave in the ground. Now, I actually don't love this ability, oddly enough. I think it takes way too long to load, and he always gets knocked on his butt from some enemy that's shielded or whatever. And I just don't love it. And I'm like, okay. But it does progress into some pretty nice abilities if you can execute them. That's a perfect example of when he's loaded up and he gets hit and it's like, okay, well that was a long load there. Another example. There's that constant smash knocking everything around. But again, the load is very long. So you can easily get knocked down. That's one of the things I don't love about Hulk. The first one is after you execute that, you press Y one more time, gives another massive radial attack. This one we don't need to show because here it shows there's a shielded enemy there. He smacks, they get a little unshielded, he does it again, and everybody goes flying. This is probably your ability where it's really good to kind of get everybody off their feet. But, as I mentioned before, part of the problem sometimes is while you're loading that smash and you're going up, a lot of times you'll get hit and get knocked off the course of action with this. It's one of the things I really don't like about Hulk in the beta is that he seems to be staggered too easily out of his abilities. I don't like that. As the Hulk, I think he'd be able to hold those a little bit easier. And finishing off this heavy attack is probably one of my more favorite is the Tectonic Fury. What it's basically happening is you hold it down and you combo hit that Y button and you just start smashing the ground and knocks everybody around. I really like this if it's hitting everybody close around them and getting them off their feet. You can see at the end of this part where you got the shield guy right there on the right, he's getting knocked, and he's trying to come back and he's boom, one more time and he keeps getting staggered. Now, he doesn't get knocked on his butt, but at least he gets knocked down a bit. So you can potentially focus on just him. The Skyfall, this is building up to the Randy Macho Man Savage for all you wrestling fans out there. But essentially when you're in midair, press Y, you slam the ground. I think the key thing with this one is when he comes down, you're looking for that shockwave, which you'll see is a little bit further away. So you jump up, hit Y, further down the road, you're knocking people away. So if you're a little bit away from someone and you want to stagger them and then sprint up and grab to them after this effect, that's really where I see this ability shine. Now, the Randy Macho Man Savage elbow, where you're jumping in midair, you're holding Y, and this hold really does build for a while, and he comes to the ground and just does a nice little shockwave. Now notice, the enemy on the left-hand side there, far left, doesn't get affected. So it's kind of a cone shockwave in front of him, so you really got to understand where you're going. And one of the things that can be difficult with this is the angle of your camera. If you're not seeing where these enemies are, then that can sometimes you'll miss. I love the ability if you can execute it properly. Grab attacks are in the third tree. I love these attacks. I think they're very critical in his kit. I wish I had more points to build these because I think it is something that's kind of critical to how he's going to work. The first one you're probably aware of. It's a pretty simple attack. You grab them and you've got to hold X to grab them. And then you got them and you're just swinging them around. All right, and you can do light attacks or heavy combo attacks to do these different things. There's a whole bunch of different things to see with it. It's cool. I love it. You knock people around. You slam this person on the ground. I think of Loki in the first Avengers when he slams them around and says puny god. That's really what this ability is about, but it does get a little bit expansive here. A point that I did not do in his tree, which I would have liked to test but just didn't have enough, is after you grab someone, you jump up in the air and hit Y. Now again, you'll see a shielded opponent there get staggered. Those are the type of abilities you want to find and get and use. So if this is one of those abilities that for sure can do it, and based on this footage here that you're seeing on the screen, it should do it. So next time, if I was able to reallocate some points, I probably would have thrown some here just to test it. And that would have been something great to do for the beta, is to be able to move these skill points around a little bit to see exactly how a Hulk type player can play. Very similar ability is when you grab them, you hold down Y and get the opponents nearby to be scattered. And this one you see again, the shielded opponent gets staggered a little bit, but comes back up. And by the time you probably get to them, they'd probably be shielded and be able to block whatever you're going to bring at them. That was the reason I didn't put this one into the tree, but it is a nice effect, again, to knock people around out from coming towards you. And that is a critical thing you need with Hulk, is to knock people back so you can kind of focus. The part that I went down for this tree is one that someone made a comment on when I was live streaming the other day, is they didn't realize that you could grab two opponents. I love playing with this ability. Obviously, you've got the stuff with the melee where you're kind of swinging them around and all this thing, but you can just see kind of how he starts spinning them up. Whatever. I don't know what it is. I'm not even I'm a Wolverine guy. I really love this ability. You just knock things around. You can see here he kind of smashes them together a little, but not as quite as big as what I put points into the next part of this tree. And you can go a few different directions in this tree. To the left side here, it's called the Gamma Crusher, where you're holding it and it just smashes and sends kind of a shockwave around. And you'll notice that's a shielded guy right there, right? So this shielded guy, he gets knocked on his butt. And that is exactly why I put points in this tree. Now, we'll see if you can get to him in time or if he's getting up or you can actually pick him up and start smashing him around. But that dude went flying. A part that I did not go to was more of a radial jump. It's similar to that Gamma Crusher, but you're just doing it in midair. I was kind of like, you know what? You're limited in points in the beta. I wasn't going to go for this one necessarily, but same general concept. A point I also wish I had, and this will probably be a little bit more critical for in the game, is called the Ionic Overflow. Essentially, when you're attacking with these enemies, when you're holding them, the attacks are going to deal these status damages on the type of enemy that you've got granted. So if you've got some sort of cryo, plasma, lightning, whatever, that type of status effect is going to affect the enemies around you. And this is going to be used for both light and heavy attacks. So it's not changing. You're still playing the same way. It's just the damage and the effects from whatever these guys that you're holding have are going to do to the enemies around you. I like this if you've got the points to get to it. It's more of a icing on top of the cake type thing. If you can do it, definitely do it. So probably the most difficult part, and the reason that I think a lot of people did not like Hulk during the beta or couldn't figure him out, is his rage tree. I still am struggling balancing exactly how this works, but I'm gonna go over it a little bit so that if you were on the fence for Hulk and maybe didn't understand how this was working, that hopefully this can help maybe convince you to give him another look. Okay, so rage. Rage is the green bar that's below your willpower. That's the white bar above it, your health essentially, what keeps you alive. The rage bar, again, the green bar, this is critical for keeping you alive. So you want that rage bar to get full as much as you can. Like this thing says, when you attack enemies and receive damage, that's when it's fueling that actual rage meter, okay? So you've got to be able to balance between that, where if your willpower is going down and your rage is going up, you want to activate rage. So as that rage comes down, your willpower goes up. All right, that's the key to the balance here. For anyone who's played World of Warcraft, you're probably used to warriors and their rage and all that kind of thing. Think that in a sense, all right? But when this rage is active, you also get some buffs. All attacks are giving increased damage and you're recovering the willpower. And that's the thing you need to know the most here, okay? Is when you're using that rage, you're recovering that willpower. So as that willpower goes down, your rage is going up. You want to activate the rage, which will end up going down and again, increasing that willpower. That's the biggest thing to think about here, okay? Balancing that, understanding when to doing that is key. There are so many times I was using Hulk and I went in somewhere and I was like immediately dead, but I had a full green rage bar. Well, if I would have activated that rage bar, I would have lived longer, okay? So now let's go down this tree to see exactly how things go. But no, actually, before we do, one thing to remember is this is where you get your parries, okay? So you want to activate rage just before an enemy attacks, and you will get a parry. And it can actually let out a roar, and it can stagger some nearby enemies in a small little radius. Okay, now let's go down the tree. First one's called Devil's Rampage. It's an intrinsic energy upgrade. Basically, you get more points from your takedowns in your rage tree, right? You're gonna do that. Nothing really to add to it. It's making it so it's a little bit easier for you to get those rage points. Going to the right first, because I wasn't able to complete this part of the tree. Again, there is more rage meter here, right? So anything, it's called Unstoppable Ferocity, and it's increasing the maximum energy value of this rage by 15%. Again, it's just making that more. You want to fill that up. I stopped there because I didn't have the points, but if you were to go down, it increases it by more, which again, you want that stuff. You want that bar to be gigantic so you can constantly be raging. You want to be raging. It is huge, but unfortunately I didn't have enough skill points. One that I did not go, I knew I wasn't going to go into, was called the Klaxon Frenzy. It's basically if you pull off a perfect evade, you get some more rage meter. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even getting these evades down very well right now. I'm not going to worry about this one. This might come into effect, but this would likely be the last one I do in this ability tree, unless you're just super good at evading. And again, I just struggle with Hulk and thinking about dodging and evading things. I could not compute. Now, the left side, this one I went down pretty far, and I do want to kind of show this part. So the left side, again, you're just reducing, it's another stat thing here, where you're just reducing the cost of using rage by 20%. It's something to, again, give you more rage. It's what you want. It's critical. And now below that, it's called Monster of Mayhem. And this is for further reducing the cost of rage, anything you're doing, and by taking it down by 15%. So again, you are reducing the cost. You want more rage, you reduce the cost. That way you can rage longer. You want to be in a rage state as much as you can, right? And this is just helping you get there. Survival instincts is probably the most important part of this tree in my mind. it is doubling the amount of willpower you're getting while rage is active. So that way, that health bar is jumping way back up, so you're ready to go again while you're in that rage state. So if you're about to die, you hurry up and rage, and all of a sudden you get that health back, all right? Then you get raged again. If you get your health down, and it's kind of like if you want to think about it, it's kind of like an accordion, just going back and forth, back and forth. You got to find your balance there and learn how to go within those different things, okay? That is key there. So this survival instincts is a big part of that. So the final piece of this rage puzzle is called Cataclysm. And essentially this is a little bar that goes on the end of the rage that is called an overcharge. Basically, when rage gets full, attacking builds up energy to overcharge the rage. So you can see that, and when it's overcharged, your rage is automatically active, and damage from all sources is increasing by 20%. It says it right there on the screen, but what it is there, so your rage is full, you get this little extra bar there, and you are automatically raged. And that is really, I talked about the accordion, that's the true accordion you really want to be in. If you can stay overcharged, you are going to be dominating stuff, okay? Because your willpower is staying up because you're raged, and you're constantly hitting things. Hulk, that's why I call it Cataclysm. This dude is just going to be going crazy. And that's the fine zone you want to get in with Hulk and just destroy things, okay? Now, if you start pushing your envelope a little bit with gear and how hard enemies are, not sure any overcharge is going to matter, but it's there because in order you want to stay in the and it says it in the ability here, if you want to stay in the overcharge, you got to keep attacking enemies or perfectly parry these enemy attacks. If you get hit or stop attacking someone, it causes overcharge to go away. So it's really hard to stay in that overcharge state. But if you got a ton of enemies around and you can stay in that state, you are going to dominate as Hulk. Just dominate. And the last part is another stat gain where it's the unbearable might. You put points in there, as increases all damage while rage is overcharged. Another 20%. So he's just crushing stuff. So we're gonna look at the rage meter here, and you can see I'm really low, right? Getting hit builds it up. These guys with shields are super annoying. It's like you don't hit it perfectly. And I'm getting hit from behind. Now it's fully charged, okay? Now I'm in the rage state nonstop here. I'm hitting enemies, and I will have to parry here. I go over here, she already took him down. I'm slamming him, I'm building that thing up more. This rage is still going. You see it start going down here. And I got somebody, now I start slapping him around. This is the best part when you're overcharged. You can see that thing is just going nuts. It is full, he is rageful, he is smashing. It's now gone. So right now you can see my rage is pretty full. We'll look at how exactly the overrage works, okay? Or the overcharge, rather. So it's already an overcharge, you can see. So he's already, I didn't have to do anything to get him to be in that kind of raged state. Now it's going down, going down, going down, because I'm not attacking anybody. Now I'm back to normal. Starting to lose some of my health here, so you can see that how I'm going to kind of shift around to get some of that health back. And I immediately go to rage. It turns blue, and you can see that thing going up dramatically. Okay? It's in overcharge right now. What I can do is I can hit it again, and I am all of a sudden starting to get my health back. When I'm actually, you can see that blue teal color in my willpower. That is keeping me from gaining, or that is allowing me to actually build my willpower back. Again, I've got more characters here that are gonna allow me to get that going. He's down on the ground, I'll grab him, start smashing him around. That overcharge is going. I'm actually healing, and I'm still, while in overcharge, staying raged. And this is the sweet spot I was talking about. Get all of it out, and now it's back down again because I got hit. So if you can stay in that range, let's throw somebody at him, that's where you want to be. So that's the tree. That's Hulk. What do you think? Is he truly misunderstood? I don't know. I hated him at first, honestly, straight up. Just did not like playing him. Started playing with the tree a little bit, testing the rage, and now I'm trying to finish off the beta week and really focus in on playing Hulk because he seems to be the tank that's probably going to be required for your groups. And if you have everybody who's ranged and you need somebody to go in and take out some big things, everyone, I want to play Iron Man, I don't know how to play Hulk. Well, I want to play Black Widow, I don't know how to play Hulk. I want to play Spider-Man. All of a sudden, there's no tanks. And as a former tank in WoW, I will say, as much as sometimes you don't want to be the tank, you're always needed for raids, and we'll see if they have any type of dungeon type things in this game, but we know they got raids. You're always going to be needed. You'll be able to come online real quick. You're going to be able to hit what you want. That's what you want, right? Now, you've got to enjoy playing them. So hopefully this guide helped explain how the tree and the rage works a little bit. I went through it quite a bit and practiced. I mean, like, I've been playing the beta weekend for well over 30 hours. A lot of that time was with Hulk, so I felt like I got something that I wanted to test him a little bit and share with you guys. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I got links in the description below to come to the Discord. Obviously, comment below on YouTube. I'm planning on covering this game for as long as it appears to be a game that has longevity. I've liked it. It's a lot of fun, and I'm hoping to do stuff like this to help you guys try to understand games, understand the game a little bit better, understand the characters a little bit better, and maybe pick up something you might have missed in the tree. So let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Hammer down the like buttons, do all this notification bell stuff. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.